Hey, what's up? Mark here from WayCoolNews.net, bringing you another very new and exciting toy review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Well Zombie from Series 2 of AMC's Walking Dead toy line by McFarlane Toys. Being inspired by the hit AMC series, the packaging features an image of the grassy land and farmhouse from the second season. The Walking Dead TV title text also appears as an insert alongside the Well Zombie figure. The canned ham accessory is visible on the lower right end of the clamshell packaging. The additional removable entrails or guts accessory isn't really visible, but nonetheless it is included. The nameplate sticker on the front of the packaging finally gives us an official title that we can all refer to this particular walker as the Well Zombie. The sticker also doesn't forget to make mention of a pretty cool action feature of a split apart body and guts. The back of the packaging features our Well Zombie figure as well as the rest of the Series 2 lineup, including Deputy Rick Grimes, Shane Walsh, the RV Zombie, and Bicycle Girl Zombie. Just to quickly recap, this zombie was seen in Episode 4 of Season 2 titled Cherokee Rose. In order to be able to use one of the wells on Herschel's farm, the group needed to remove this rotten bloated zombie resting at the bottom without shooting it. The group attempts to lure the zombie out by using canned ham attached with rope and hooks, but to no avail, the zombie didn't take the bait. So instead, the group eventually attempts to hoist the well zombie out by having Glenn lasso it, all the while playing the part of the bait. Poor Glenn. So now that I've jogged your memory, let's take a more in-depth look at why this figure is so good and why you should own one. To be quite honest, I was surprised by how detailed this figure actually turned out to be. McFarlane has built a solid enough reputation for making some decently detailed toy lines, but I don't think I was ever quite that impressed with their Walking Dead comic series toy line. But looking at this figure here today, it's hard to complain. The Well Zombie looks exactly as the way we saw it in the show. I mean, looking at the face sculpt, it is really cool. The head looks lopsided as it was seen on the show, with the eyes swollen shut. It also has that odd little fatty pocket on the one side of the face. The grandpa and the bathtub-like wrinkles really allow the shaded areas to stand out well. The color wash really sets the tone for just how nasty and rotten this zombie is, and it is awesome. I also like that the sculptor didn't forget to add the thin wispy hair on the back of the zombie's head. I really love the flesh-eaten, rotten, pock-marked areas of the body. I don't know if they were supposed to be created by zombie bites, his skin being stretched too far, or somebody going at him with a blowtorch for a second. Whatever the reason may be, this definitely looks awesome. It's too bad our chubby friend here won't be getting the chance to sport that tramp stamp tattoo in the afterlife, because it looks like some walkers already chewed it off. The texturing throughout the body is in itself something to behold. There are small rough areas, then there are tiny dotted holes in the skin, then there are the more gruesome torn flesh areas. The variations of color used throughout the upper body are absolutely sickening and mind-blowing. When looking at the upper back of the zombie, no other word comes to mind except for rotting. Take all that and throw on some blood spatter. The paintwork is truly impressive. The rope used around the chest is bendy, very pliable, and sculpted onto the figure itself. It is not removable, but doesn't stand in the way of anything either. With all these positives going on, there just has to be a negative somewhere about this figure. No figure is ever perfect. If it was, it would make my job a lot easier. I could just show you a picture of the figure and shout awesome and cue the credits. So, hesitantly, kicking and screaming, dragging your feet along, let's talk about some of the downsides. One of the downsides has to be how prominent that jagged seam across the stomach is. It sits best at the front of the belly, but being that the two parts doesn't connect perfectly, the sides and back of the figure come off looking like the mouth of the Dirty Bubble character from SpongeBob SquarePants. It seems that one of the many reasons the figure doesn't want to connect very well could possibly be caused by the clash of intestines inside the figure, but fear not, this is easily resolved by removing the lower intestine piece. But I think the most obvious reason it won't line up very well is because of the pegs on the upper body that are too large for the holes on the lower body. So with all this talk about the body split, let's take a look at what's going on the inside. The sculpting again was done well. The upper intestines are firmly glued in place on the top half of the figure. They're made of a pretty pliable rubbery type of plastic. A great amount of color variation using dark reds and browns was used to capture a very congealed, bloody look. Even the tops and bottoms of the stomach wall along the edge, where the two halves of the figures connect, are textured and painted very well. Like previously mentioned, the lower intestine piece can be easily removed, and if you turn it upside down, it can double as a jellyfish from SpongeBob. Taking a look at the lower body, the jeans, which appear to be designer, seem to be comprised of a dark blue and dry brushed with a very light blue to help bring out all the wrinkly and tattered detail. Making sure not to cut corners, things like seam lines and pockets and stitching were also added to the jeans. One of my favorite and easily overlooked feature about this figure is the feet. The combination of a color wash, shading, and flesh-eaten areas make this Well Zombie's feet absolutely disgustingly awesome. The Well Zombie sports 9 points of articulation with a swivel neck, ball-jointed shoulders, swivel hinge elbows, swivel hinge wrists, and a swivel at the tops of both legs. If you push the articulation to an extreme, it could cause the arms or even head to pop off, but can be easily popped back on, so it's not a major concern. One of the downsides in the articulation seems to be how obvious the joints are at the inner elbow. These joints also come painted too, so the more you articulate them, the more flaking you'll get from the paint. The only real accessory the figure comes packaged with, if you're not counting the intestines, is the ham wrapped in fish hooks and rope. It has a great amount of detail and definitely doesn't disappoint. If you plan on picking up other characters from Walking Dead, it could wind up becoming an essential piece for a nice looking diorama. While this figure comes with some very minor setbacks, like being able to put the two halves together only sort of tenuously, it still is a figure that any Walking Dead or zombie fan would be proud to own. I mean, how could anyone deny the desire to own such a chubby, waterlogged zombie covered in blood and filth? That's practically the definition of chick magnet. Be sure to let us know what you think about this figure in the comments section below. Stick around for more way cool reviews of the rest of the Walking Dead Series 2 lineup, and be sure to subscribe to us here on YouTube. For waycoolnews.net, I'm Mark, and this has been another Way Cool review.